Hello everyone. Welcome to Jane podcast number 3. So, we are having a topic today as sources of academic knowledge. So, we are joining today by Miss Yugi, who has been joining with us on the podcast number 1 and 2. So, welcome and thank you for joining with us again. There is a saying like this: finding the right sources to support your academic work is more important than the work itself. What do you think of this opinion, Yugi?
While it may seem like a bold statement, you may be asking yourself, isn't the work that I do the most important thing when I am completing an assignment? Well, the truth is, if your work is based on unreliable or incorrect information, it will have little to no value at all. Understanding which sources are high quality, can be trusted, will be central to your development as a university student. The world is full of information, and it may seem as if it is all at your fingertips. However, if you do not know how to determine which sources to use, you will struggle.
So, how do you categorize the sources then? What kind of sources would be considered as reliable ones, and what would be considered as a low quality ones?
While the quality of sources will fall generally onto a spectrum ranging from low to high, you should undoubtedly focus on the high end, of course. Broadly speaking, the highest quality sources are scholarly and peer reviewed publications. These sources contain information from experts which has been checked by other experts, and as such, it is the best. However, even using one of these, some critical judgment is required and will be addressed later on. Other high quality sources can be theses, dissertations, conference proceedings, and some texts. At the lower end of the spectrum are popular sources such as newspapers, websites, and blogs. Note that newspapers present a unique case where the reliability of the periodical can vary widely. There's the vast difference between New York Times and New York Post. No matter which source you are going to use, you must judge whether it is appropriate for use or not. Though seemingly counterintuitive, facts change over time. Let's go for an example like this. Until 1800s, many of the world's most esteemed ornithologists believed that sparrows hibernated underwater. It sounds funny, migration being too ridiculous to be believed, and it's true at that time for them to believe in that. Does this mean that you must be the arbiter or whether a fact is correct or not? No, it doesn't. But you do need to make some critical choices.
Do you think this might be a bit challenging for fresh students to get used to these concepts? Like, for example, if the students are on their second or third year, it would be a lot more familiar with these ideas of how to choose the right resources. But if you're on your very first assignment, it can be quite stressful. So, is there any tool that can support the students on this?
There are quite a numbers out there. There are quite a number out there, excuse me. Fortunately, we have one here that I am going to mention it. One such tool is CRAAP test, pun intended. This method for evaluating sources was created by Sarah and her team at California State University. This is not the first or only test for determining the credibility of sources, but it may be the easiest to remember. In this acronym, C is a currency, R is relevance, A is authority, and then the next A is accuracy, and P is purpose.
So, can you please tell me, as well as the audience, a bit more in depth about the acronyms?
Right. The first one is currency. The first step is this process is checking the currency of the information. Is this the most up-to-date information? Has it been revised or updated? Does it cite other up-to-date sources? Using our example above about the sparrows, an article on this topic would definitely and immediately fail this portion of the review as it would be significantly out of date. And the second point is relevance. When judging the relevance, you need to look at the link between the topic being written about and its sources. You should also determine the intended audience. Is the level of this information appropriate for what you would like to use it for? The next point is authority. The author and publisher of the source matter much. Are they qualified to be a source of this topic? Also, why no work is without bias? Are the bias identified and addressed here? Know this information will help you decide if the source can be trusted and is worthy of citation or not.
Okay.
Accuracy. Also critical to determining if a source is trustworthy is accuracy. Is appropriate evidence presented? Does this evidence have its own sources with reliable citations? Going back to bias, how is this addressed? Is the argument balanced? Are the conclusions logical? And the next point should be purpose. That is the last point too, but it's very important to remember. Why was this source created? Is it part of a larger body of work? What is it trying to do? Teach, entertain, or sell you something? Knowing the author's intentions can help you decide if the source is appropriate for use or not.
So you mentioned it's one of the easiest tool to remember, but
Yes,
I think it's still a lot of information to take in, isn't it?
right, definitely, you're right. Once you become more experienced at using CRAAP tool, it need not, it doesn't really need to be as formal and deliberate a process as demonstrated above at all. It can be running in the background and going through your subconscious mind as you conduct your research. Anyway, always remember that you are responsible for selecting appropriate, high quality sources for your work, and developing these critical skills are an essential part of the university's experience.
All right. Thanks a lot, Yui, for your sharing. So I hope from the information that you shared today, our students can have a better start when entering university and also have a less struggling first assignment. Thank you for
Surely.
joining us.
Thank you. And see
Thank
you
you.
guys. Yes.